Welcome to From the Den podcast, providing Bears and NFL fans alike with compelling news, discussion, and debate. I'm your co-host Benjamin, joined alongside my dear friend and co-host Oren.
Hey Benjamin, let's get right into it. As always, kickoff starts now.
Going to just the whole team, do you think that if the offensive line turns into their 2018 form, like we were talking about, everything works out well? Do you think and how will the Bears players, other players, quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, games elevate?
Benefit? Well, yeah, in the first episode, in basically every episode, we cover the large impact that the offensive line position has on all other parts of the offense and, in turn, the entire team. So it'll 100% elevate the games of every position, whether directly or the most indirect way is through the wide receivers. But of course, if your quarterback is always under pressure, the wide receivers are going to have worse production as well. I'm not going to go into the specifics about how the offensive line play benefits each position. I think it's clear, but one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, that the Bears team and offense regressed in 2019 was because of that offensive line play. So it's clear to me that when that offensive line improves, every other aspect of that offense will in turn improve, helping the team as well.
So what I find interesting about football, rather than basketball, where it's more of a star-driven league, and you can have one really good player and some good role players and then a few bad players, and you can still be successful. Football is a team sport. You look at the Bears. Why are the Bears cornerbacks in 2018 so dominant? Because they were solid. It's because the quarterbacks had no time to throw. So when they try to get the ball off, they don't know if the receiver's open. For that reason, the cornerbacks get better. And why are the defensive linemen so good, and why do they get so many sacks? Because the cornerbacks played tight defense on the defenders. They had nowhere to throw the ball, and the pass rushers had more time to get to the quarterback. And I think it's so interesting that football's a team game because you have to work off of each other. And because the Bears didn't have a good running game in 2018, it was harder to pass. And because Mitchell Trubisky had a bad year, it's harder to run. But I think what's so interesting about the offensive line is that, in my opinion, the offensive line works in every aspect. I think it's one of the most important positions. Mm-hmm. And I think that the offensive line is the glue to the offense. And even though the quarterback's the most important position, the offensive line, if you have a good offensive line, you really are in any game. There's no game that you can – if you have a very solid offensive line, it's very rare that you find yourself playing in a football game that you're not close. It's not a close game because the offensive line is what gives you many opportunities. Same as quarterback, but it's a bit different. And the offensive line for the Bears was very unsuccessful. Now, if the Bears' offensive line does better next year, they have Dave Montgomery running through bigger holes, doing better. They have play action working better. They have Trubisky or Foles having more time to throw. I think everything elevates as the offensive line elevates, and everything declines as the offense.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, that every positions feed off of other positions.
Yeah.
So when one position does better, especially when it's the offensive line doing better, the rest of the offense will in turn do better. So I think we agree on that.
Yeah, and I think that it's like all positions. Like I said, if wide receiver does better, Montgomery will do better, and Foles, Whiskey will do better, and that's how football works. But I think the offensive line is even more important than that because the offensive line doing poorly affects everything.
Well, yeah, but it affects everything just because if the offense does badly, then the team does worse.
Well, I'm saying the offensive line, like let's say you take Dave Montgomery and he has a bad game. It's harder to throw, but it's not as impossible as having a terrible offensive line.
Yeah, exactly. That the offensive line feeds off of, or other positions feed off of the offensive line, maybe the most or more than other positions. Yeah, we 100% agree on that.
If you enjoyed this episode of From the Den, please remember to subscribe, comment, and like this video.
Or, if you're a Packers fan, remember to dislike and leave a nasty comment. Click the links on the screen to access additional content.